Welcome to Pod Applaud, the Monday through Friday podcast that aims to enable your podcast habit. I'm your host, Seb, and today we are going to talk about the podcast, Other People's Problems. Other People's Problems is a CBC podcast that takes us inside the therapy office of the wonderful and benevolent Hillary McBride, where amazingly strong and brave patients have deemed it valuable to share their actual therapy sessions in podcast form. The show is a stunningly powerful form of mental health advocacy that comes in the package of 2 seasons, which each contain 9 episodes. There is also extra content available in the podcast feed, such as interviews, a guided meditation exercise, and talks regarding specific mental health topics. Episodes tend to be about 25 minutes in length and have warnings when covering any topics that may be especially difficult. I've listened to many podcasts that feature empathetic speakers having deep conversations and exploring the relationship with tragedy we experience as humans. In these podcasts, I've shed tears of sadness that people find themselves living with such hardships. Listening to other people's problems, I find myself shedding tears of joy that these people have sought help, especially in the form of Hillary's counsel. Hillary is a treasure. She speaks softly but with great poise and presence. She is so aware and involved in her patients. It's moving to hear just how deeply she cares for and about the people who step into her office. So yeah, the show is emotionally heavy, very emotionally heavy. And I just want to say they do protect the privacy of the patients by giving them alter egos. After all, they are kind of like superheroes. However, the show is also very engaging. I use the word engaging instead of entertaining because the show is by no means a spectacle meant to amuse us, but it is very engaging. There are clips edited into the show at points to grant us insight into what the patients might be experiencing and techniques Hillary employs in her practice. Other than those brief edits, we are in the midst of one of the most private practices that our culture has long kept veiled. I can definitely foresee people who listen to other people's problems really shifting their attitudes towards therapy and counseling. I've always been pro-therapy and I've seen it as an undeniably positive thing. But only now can I even fathom just how brilliant it truly is. The show changed how I will see portions of the world for the rest of my life. I'm not sure how else to say that. On the technical side, the show's audio might get overpowered by excessive ambient noise if you are listening in a loud space, but I think this is the type of show you make space for at home when you have quiet and time set aside. Here on Pod Applaud, I rate shows on a 1 to 5 scale. 1 is silence, 2 is a slow clap, 3 is applause, 4 is a round of applause, and 5, of course, is a standing ovation. I'm going to give Other People's Problems a 5 out of 5, a standing ovation. This probably isn't a show for everybody, but it has fascinating, eye-opening moments that can really inform the listener. Sharing this show is one of the best ways I can think of to reduce the stigma of therapy and improve mental health awareness. I've listened to everything currently available. I'm not sure if there will be a 3rd season. Honestly, I'm not sure I would listen to a 3rd season if it was to be released. Although there is a lot to learn and some interesting insight into the behavior of the human psyche, the show is very emotionally draining for me, and I feel like I've gotten what I'm going to get from it at this point. That being said, I would especially recommend this show to anyone who has not experienced a real therapy session. TV and movies cannot prepare you for the feeling that you get listening to this podcast. I I would also suggest the show to anyone who struggles and hasn't yet found help. That's been the show for today. If you found it valuable, be sure to subscribe for more podcast reviews. If you wish to reach out or follow me, you can find me on Twitter @podapplaud or send an email to podapplaud@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, and please tune in again.